Alright, welcome back guys. What's your first time here? I'm Vision Hero Binary Tam bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to give you guys somewhat of like a mini pitch of what I would do for an S.P.D anniversary special. Now, Power Rangers something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon to some more Power Rangers content from me moving forward. Now, let's begin. Now, first off, this is not like a full-on what I would do. This is kind of like a rough draft of like kind of ideas I have and like certain plot points and topics I'd hit on with this kind of special. Now, first off, I'm going to get this out of the way quick and easy right here is I would not bring back any of the original 5 Rangers from the S.P.D season. Now, I know immediately people are going to freak out and say, oh my god, you can't do S.P.D without them. They were the core of S.P.D. Now, I do not deny that. However, we have to remember that S.P.D took place in the year 2025, which we are now in. Now, it's been 20 years later, and as you can imagine, they look a lot different than they did 20 years later, the actors. Now, of course, you could argue, well, they could use the aging program to make them look younger like they did back in 2005. Yes, they could do that, but with a show like Power Rangers and their budget, I don't think they'd be able to do that. Plus, you'd also have to bring in the crew to do the makeup for Kruger and Kat and anybody else or any other aliens that they want to include in this. So, right off the bat, I'm going to get out of the way is I would not bring back the original 5 B Squad Rangers. Now, my idea would be to make this show a prequel to the events of S.P.D. We all know what's going to happen, but I think a good area to cover would be a prequel like special, like an hour and a half kind of prequel special to S.P.D. Now, my kind of pitch would be where like you start the special with Adam and Aisha, you have them kind of come in and make a guest appearance. Now, in Once and Always, we know that they kind of gave a line saying that they were out fighting the Trubians. Now, you could pick up right where you kind of left off there with those words and have them be under fire from a Trubian ship or guards or group of Trubian Empire soldiers. They go down and you got Adam, who is desperately trying to get the situation under control. I know you can get him back. Karen Ashley, I'm not sure. So I might have her whereabouts be off screen. They kind of get mentioned. But you mainly have Adam. He's freaking out. Like, say, if they can't get Karen Ashley back, she's, like, knocked unconscious off screen. And you have Adam frantically trying to get things under control to protect her and his crew. And in the midst of it, he puts out a distress signal to Kruger and S.P.D. And after he does that, his ship and his ship go down. And, then you cut to the S.P.D headquarters back on Earth. Now you'd pick off there with, like, Kruger getting the distress signal from Adam, and you would have him just say, okay, we need to get back, we need to go and get there, we need to rescue them. So you would have Kruger. Now, my plan would be to have the main focus be on A Squad. Now, we don't get much about A Squad, and I know people are also going to argue, but we've already seen them, they're already cast. And honestly, for me, they played such a little role, we saw them such a little screen time, why not just recast them? There's no big deal to make that about A Squad, because we saw them, for 5, maybe 10 seconds of total screen time, unmorphed. So, you would have them, but you would recast them, and, that's how you'd work around them. You would bring in new actors to play the A Squad Rangers. You'd have Kruger. You would have Kat. Due to Kelson Henderson's also aging, I probably would not have Boom there. Unfortunately, I know we all love Boom. He was a fan favorite. But again, due to the aging of characters and actors, I figured just be more easy to focus on Kat, Kruger, and the A Squad Rangers, because then you don't have to worry about the aging. You just have to focus on makeup for B Squad Blue, Kruger, and Kat, which would be easy on the budget. So you would focus on them. Now you would have an arc where you have Kruger who is training A Squad. They're at the top of their class. You get, like, mentions and throwaway lines about the B Squad and their training. but you mainly focus on Kruger and A Squad after they get this distress signal, and this is where you go on the hunt for or for Grum. And you would have this story be kind of more of a backstory as to why and how the A Squad turned. Because now we know they turned, but in the show, it kind of was hinted at and kind of given a little bit explanation. But I think I would have this be more of a kind of setup for why they end up turning. We know that they want to be on the winning side, of course. That's kind of their main motive. But I feel like other than that, you kind of want to give them a little bit more motive. So you have them, they go up into space to try and find Adam and rescue him, Aisha, and anybody else of their crew. Now, this is where I would try to figure out one or two things is if they could get Grum back, and if they couldn't, I would not have him return. I would maybe either bring back the actress who played an older Morgana, or bring back the kid who played Morgana, or just recast Morgana altogether and have her be the main villain of the special. If they can't get her either of them back or don't want to recast them or any of that, then just keep her in her purple suit. And now, if they can't get the purple suit back, what I would say is give it like a low down kind of a regular kind of suit. And then throughout the special, what I would do towards the end of the special during a battle, her armor gets badly ruined. And then then due to that in S.P.D, that's where they kind of off screen between this special and S.P.D off screen, Grum creates her this new armor to use for battle. That's how I would put it. I think you would keep Morgana as the main villain. You might hear Grum's voice or archive footage of his voice, but mainly I think you keep Morgana as the main villain. I know some people might argue Broodwin. That's possible if they could get his costume back, but I think making it a civilian works better on the area of like makeup and all that stuff and having to pay for things. So I think for me, I'd bring back Morgana, who is tasked with stopping Kruger and A Squad. Now, one of the things that I want to go back and touch on is where Adam was taken down in his area. Now, this would be an important mission for Kruger and A Squad because Adam's whereabouts and where he is and holding up, that's their last line of defense. If that planet falls, then Grum goes for Earth. That's where I would leave the special at. It's like it's a race against time. Grum has to get there. And, if he doesn't get there by such and such time, Adam will be killed and, they will be on their way to Earth. The Trubians will be on their way to Earth. So I would make it a ticking time bomb. So you have to get there by this X amount of time or, they lose. Now, I feel like I'm not going to give a whole bunch of details because I'd have to iron out a whole lot of things. And this is kind of like a rough draft. But I would have it be where Kruger and A Squad are on their way there. But once they arrive on the planet to find Adam and his team, they're shot down by the Trubians. And in the midst of the chaos, once they crash down, they split up to go search for Adam. Now, here's another thing. Now, we know that the A Squad suits were repurposed from the in-space suits. At least their helmets are. I can't remember if it was their suits as well, but we at least know their helmets are refurbished or they use the in-space helmets to make A Squad. Now, I have no idea what happened to them. Maybe one of you guys know in the comment section. But I'm going to assume and go out on a limb and say those helmets are no longer available. So what I would do is have A Squad just use the regular S.P.D suits we see B Squad use throughout the entirety of the S.P.D season. So, you'd have A Squad, but they'd use their own suits from the regular Sentai. And I'm sure you could probably get old suits back from Japan from a Deca Ranger spin-off or movie or something. I'm pretty sure you could probably get that from Japan easily. But that's beside the point. You'd have Grum and the A Squad be, kind of split up to go search for Adam. Now, one of the teams, which would include Charlie, would end up fighting a group of, say, Crybots, and then but they end up being captured and brought forth to Grum. Now, I know I said Grum might not be able to be make an appearance, but like I said, you could use archived footage or have the actor come back to do voice lines and stuff like that. Now, I'd have them be brought to Grum, but in order to cut budget and keep it small, I'd have the scene play out where it's from Grum's POV. It's his point of view looking down at the Rangers. And that's where you kind of see them. You would have something in the beginning where Kruger isn't fully have faith in A Squad. He worries that they're not ready for this. And you have Charlie and A Squad, her and whatever Rangers of her unit who split up from Kruger are taken to Grum, and while they're there, you got the situation where Grum is telling them how powerful and strong they are, and how Kruger doesn't see their potential, and how he sees them as weak. And this kind of gives them a bit more of a reason as to why to switch sides. I feel like it is a little bit generic, but it's kind of the easiest kind of way to go about it. Is like, you have Kruger not fully have high hopes that they can fully defend the Earth. This also plays into the fact that in the S.P.D. finale, and throughout S.P.D., Kruger and then Kat say that B Squad is the best Ranger team he's ever had. This would play into that where he doesn't fully have faith in or trust A Squad to get the mission done. And this is what forces Charlie to contemplate whether to stay with Grum or not. And this is where you would have it where she would turn, but she'd also return to Earth with Kruger and them later on once they find Adam as a way to stay face. So meanwhile, you got that going on, but Grum would let them go, or you'd think he let them go, or he let them escape, something like that. Meanwhile, you would have Kruger, who's trying to find Adam and his team. Now, they do find Adam and his team. I'm pretty sure Johnny Yamvash would return for this special. He does care about the fans. If this was to happen, I do believe he would come back for this. So you would have him return, and that you'd have Kruger and the other A Squad Rangers rescue Adam and his team. If Aisha's able to they rescue her. Whoever, they could have some like red shirt S.P.D. crew members also be rescued. If Aisha or Karen Ashley isn't there to play Aisha, I'd have them say they rescued her off screen and she was badly injured and brought back to the ship for med care or something like that, leaving Adam, Kruger, and the rest of them to escape on Earth. However, that would happen. They'd be able to get Aisha to safety, but before they themselves could escape, they are intercepted and captured or, cornered by Morgana and a group of Crybots. Now, once they're cornered and captured, you would have Charlie and her split up team that had left, confront them and save them at the last minute from Morgana. And of course, you'd have like a team up fight, maybe have like a morph sequence for A Squad. Now, we do know Kruger wouldn't fight in Ranger form. We know there's a whole backstory in S.P.D. as to why he doesn't use Shadow Ranger. So, I wouldn't break that canon. He wouldn't morph, but I'd have it some way where he could somehow get into the fight. He doesn't want to fight, and he's not going to use his Ranger powers, but he somehow gets into the fight, whether it rescuing someone or trying to get Adam to safety, something like that, where even though he doesn't morph into Shadow Ranger, he does find a way to actually get into the fight and actually somehow fight off some true beings. Just a little fan service there. Again, I don't want to have him morph into Shadow Ranger because that breaks continuity and story and arcs within S.P.D. So I'd keep it that way. But you'd have a final fight between A Squad and Morgana. Now, this is where I would talk about the suits. Because like I said, Morgana wouldn't have her suit that she has in S.P.D. And A Squad would be using the regular suits from the B Squad Rangers. Now, in this battle, I would have it be where both sides are in such an intense battle that both the B Squad uniforms are badly ruined and Morgana's suit is badly damaged. So both sides take heavy damage and you kind of reach a stalemate in the battle in which Kruger and them are forced to run away and sacrifice kind of their last hopes, leave like a team behind to try to hold them off, but they have to get to safety. There's no time. If they don't go, such and such happens. And A Squad suits are badly ruined in the battle. You got Morgana, whose armor is damaged. But in a sense, due to the fact that Grum, the Rangers in a sense lost and had to flee, Grum uses this as a way and sees this as progress and grants Morgana her childhood back, which is why she is a child when we see her in S.P.D. So you'd have that, and you'd have the B Squad or A Squad and Kruger and Adam, all of them escape back to Earth. Their ship is badly damaged. They have to abandon it, but they return to Earth. Adam and Kruger kind of have a short moment, a briefing kind of like that, which I think would be a good kind of moment there. Maybe you have a short cut-in of Billy over like a monitor and him kind of giving a report and everything, them reporting to him what's going on and everything like that. And you got Kruger and them who kind of talks to A Squad, says, look, we got to get ready. Trubians are coming, and you guys got to be prepared. But also at the same time, you got Kruger who talks to Kat, and they talk about how, again, like I said, he doesn't have full faith in or trust in the A Squad to protect Earth. And he's trying to figure out how to remedy that in the event that something happens to A Squad, which is where you have Cap bring up, well, we got B Squad on standby, and maybe it's time to pull them into play and actually do something with them. And that's where Kruger gets the idea of, okay, it's time to start the training for B Squad. And then you'd end off the special with a POV from Bridge, Sky, and Sid being briefed by Kruger about how, Trubians are coming. A Squad has been called forth. We got a very big threat coming our way. You can't tell anybody. This is a kind of a secret thing. This is kind of why it's not really mentioned in the premiere. Like, he doesn't really tell them what's going on, just that there's something coming and you need to start being prepared in case something goes wrong. And you would kind of end it, like, again, with a POV from them, because again, they've aged, so they're not going to look the same as they did in beginnings. So you'd have it be where he says, now your training begins, and he sends them off to train with Kat, which is kind of where we'd find them in the premiere. Again, this is kind of like a rough draft. Again, there'd be a lot more story. There'd be a lot more story arcs and character development through it with A Squad and Kruger, because I'd want to really set up that idea of Kruger having a falling out with them in the special due to him not fully trusting A Squad and having faith in them. I think that'd be a better kind of reason for them to turn sides other than them just saying, oh, everybody wants to be on a winning team. I know it's generic. I know we've seen it before, but I think that would be a good way to have it play out. And I just think it would be a good way to elaborate on A Squad and Kruger, because we don't get to see much of that in relationship because of that. And I think that'd be a great way to do that. Again, I know some people might not like a prequel. Personally, I think this is the best way to go about it. And plus, for me, I would love to get more on A Squad and all that, all their background and everything there. So this is where I would stand for an S.P.D. special. Again, I have a 99% sure case that we're not getting an S.P.D. kind of special this year. It would be amazing if we could. But I've got, like I said, I'm 99% sure that's not going to happen this year. It's a shame, but it's kind of the reality in the fact. But this is where I would stand, is a prequel special similar to Once and Always. And I think this would be a good way to kind of pay tribute to S.P.D., kind of do a prequel. We don't get much prequels, kind of, because, there's not much to set up in seasons. So you don't get prequels, but I think S.P.D., with how their story works, it lends itself well to a prequel that would help advance the story, also would help given the fact that of the current actors' ages and them not really looking the part of what they did 20 years ago. So I think this is where I stand with an SPD kind of like reunion anniversary special. That's my pitch. Again, like I said, there'd be a lot more in the middle here. This is kind of like a rough draft pitch, but it's kind of where I would kind of put things like plot points and certain things. But these are just my thoughts, opinions. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you like my pitch? Would you rather see something else with actual B Squad? Do you like the idea of a prequel? If so, do you like mine? Is there certain things you'd add to mine? Or certain things you don't like about my pitch? Let me know all that good stuff in the comment section down below. Yeah, guys, those are my thoughts, opinions regarding a pitch for a Power Rangers SPD special. As always, if you're video, want to give a big thumbs up and share, don't forget to hit subscribe button down below, hit that bell icon, there's some Power Rangers content from me moving forward, and go for me. I'm going to what you're linked in that section of my YouTube channel. As always, I'm Vision here by Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.